Woburn. I'm very excited. We have a lot of things going on across the city. Spring brings out all the outdoor festivals and all the things. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And of course, as always, welcome, Scott.
Hi, Samantha. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Great.
I was saying earlier before we started to record that I took a walk today because it was just such beautiful weather. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. It was just like this perfect day outside.
Very nice. Yeah.
So I wanted to touch base because I saw we have I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I call it the right thing. The Adopt a Catch Basin program, which I have to admit made me giggle. But then when I looked at what it was kind of a cool thing where we, to help keep the basins clear of leaves and debris so that we have proper, water movement and things across the city, that we've launched this. And I just didn't know if you had anything like how that got started you wanted to share with us.
No, I wanted to. Yeah. So that's important for stormwater and for drainage and flooding and particularly stormwater management, which is so important these days. And want to make sure that I specifically mention the engineering department, Matt Barrett, who does a lot about GIS, and he's been doing a great job with the stormwater, and this is his kind of his baby. He worked with the DPW, and they're going to be responsible for it. But it's a good program, and eventually we'd like to get in the schools and work with the school department, and you can really see how kids would get a great benefit from this. Adopting a catch basin and realizing the importance for the community and for the environment. So we're hoping that, we're starting with a soft approach now, but, next year we really think that it'll take off with the schools and we could see the engineering department getting in the schools and teaching the kids about the importance of stormwater for nature and the environment.
I think this is fantastic. And I was, kind of like we adopt fire hydrants unofficially, right? Because we, if you have one near us, a lot of times the snow comes down, we, always shovel it as part of sort of the routine around our neighborhood. So I love that. And I was actually really surprised that we have 4,200 drainage catches across the city, which is quite a lot. So that is an awesome opportunity for all of us to do a little piece. It won't take very long, but helps out quite a lot.
It's good you watch the website so much. I wish everybody would.
That's what I do. Yeah. It's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it. I also noticed that we have the Traffic Commission is looking for a resident board member, and I'm not sure I really understand the difference between sort of a resident representative and sort of the board members who normally sit on the board. I didn't know if you could tell us a little bit about the difference.
There's no difference. They have the same voting rights and the same, basically the same. They just call it the resident because on the Traffic Commission, there's somebody from each department, whether, the engineering, DPW, police, fire, and it's kind of a broad-based group of people to address traffic, and the resident has the same input, same vote, same authority. But this one's a city council appointment, so that's why you see it, and it's a good learning experience for a resident.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for clarifying. I had a couple people who were curious how that fed into it. So it's good to know that they actively participate in helping. And I know traffic is important to a lot of people in town. So I hope a lot of people go ahead and fill that out. That's awesome. I'm not going to let us not talk about school budgets. I don't want to go into detail. You participated in school committee meeting. There was a lot of discussion that's happening, but I thought you could give us an update about where we are now and what's happening next.
So, made the presentation to the school committee and really to give them an idea of the overall budget process, where we are and what our limitations are. And you and I spoke about this last week. So unless there's something new, I don't, I think your view was heard last week. There's really nothing different other than I made the presentation, talked about, what our different sources of reserves, what they can be used for, what they can't be used for. And, really what our limitations are on an annual basis when it comes to the budget. And, we're right up against it. So that's really what the crux of the presentation was. And again, it's on the city's website. If anybody wants to take the time to look at it and see, where we are and how the budget process works, I'd be happy to take any questions from anybody who goes on the website, looks at it, and then asks questions. They can either come in the office, I'd sit down with them, or they can call me. So, like I said, if you have if you want to go get into it more, I'd be happy to, but I know we
Yeah,
went
no,
over some stuff
you
last
answered
week.
all of my questions. I just know there was, and I know that the audience was not able to ask questions, sort of the format of the school committee meeting, not for any other reason. I know you were there to that. And I was just wanted to see like what the next steps were. So I don't think there's anything new to ask. I think we've talked about the important things. I play on the city's finance website just because I like spreadsheets and I like data, and sometimes I get bored. So those are things that entertain me. And I did notice that there, and you had mentioned this, there was, in past years, we've had sort of a surplus, more revenue coming in than expenses out, but this year we're not in that position, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So, excellent. Anything else that you want to cover off before we talk about a few other things happen across the city?
No, I'm thinking if there's anything important to talk about coming up this weekend as far as different events. No, I think we're in a good position here, and you've got some very good guests, and I'll just tune out and let you go.
We have a lot going on. I'll just remind our audience, next week we will not be having a show. My son is graduating from college on Sunday, and we are going to celebrate on Sunday with family. And I'm need a little bit extra time to recover. So I just going to give myself the week off so that I can rest up, because I'm sure that I'm going to need to sleep all day Monday.
Congratulations and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. We'll see you the week after. Excellent. Next up, Diane Cinto.
Hi.
Welcome. And as all of you who watch know, Diane is also my mom, but she's not here as my mother today, but she's here to help talk about a really important event that we have coming up that we'll be doing, and has kind of started to become an annual tradition. So welcome. I want to talk a little bit about the Wear Orange event that's coming up. Obviously, in Woburn, we wear a lot of orange. Orange is our city color, and we wear that with pride. But it also means something very special for the Wear Our Orange event. Tell us a little bit about why we wear that color on that special day.
Well, okay, thank you for inviting me. The Wear Orange is really for Gun Violence Awareness Day on June 2nd. It began when a young girl, 15 years old, in 2013, she was a victim of gun violence while talking to friends. So her friends, she was 15 then, when it was her 18th birthday, they decided on June 2nd, her birthday, that they would not forget her, that she missed many milestones. And so they began to wear orange on that day. And the orange was a color of safety awareness. They say a lot of the hunters wear that color to be safe. And so they decided to wear that color. Then that became a popular idea. And so now it's not just for Hadia Pendleton, who I did not name, but it now became a Wear Orange National Day and weekend for all gun violence victims and survivors. And so this year, in 2023, she would have been 25 years old. So the movement is national, and that's where it began.
And we have, for the last few years anyways, had a tradition of signing a proclamation in front of City Hall to, honor survivors of gun violence and raise awareness around this, and let the community at large know that, we don't stand for gun violence. We have a very supportive of community, and we want to gather around that. This year, we will also be doing is tell us about when that ceremony is happening, so anyone who wants to join us can.
Yes. Well, I have to say that in 2016, I had approached Mayor Galvin, and I asked him if we could have a proclamation for that Gun Violence Awareness Woburn Day, in which he signed, and there were the three of us. There was Marie, the mayor, and myself. And I have to say, so then it was a matter of just him signing. So after several years, I joined Woburn Welcome, and I found out the community really does care about what's going on about gun violence. And so we expanded. And so we are now on our 8th year, and we have it at the Commons, and it would be across from City Hall because each year it expands. It was the Woburn Welcome, community that expanded and got people interested. And then Amy Cardoso, who is the co-advisor for the Embrace group, decided that, students are considering themselves Am I Next community. And so they think about gun violence also. So they wanted to be part of it. And so they began walking to this. The school administration gave them that. And so now we decided that from now on, it would be in the time that they could leave class and be back to school in time. And so it's 10 to 10:30 on June 2nd, which would have been Haidia's 25th birthday this year. And then I found out later on that there is another group that does the Mara Foundation because Shannon Lee Mara, life was taken by gun violence. And now there is a program for prevention of dating violence. And so they're going to be invited. And there's a couple of more surprises this year too.
Fantastic. Well, it is always an uplifting day. It's a somber reminder to us that we do still have gun violence in our community and that we continue to have to speak up against it and support each other in a community. And I hope someday it won't be a necessary reminder, but we're not there yet. And it's a wonderful opportunity for the community to come together and just stand with those folks who have been victims of violence and know that we're there for them. So thank you for catching up. I hope to see many people there. Again, it's on June 2nd, and it's wonderful that students are being able to, who want to, are able to join in the remembrance as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alex, up next. We're going to change gears completely and talk about a completely different topic next. We're going to talk all about creative expression in the Woburn Guild of Artists. Welcome.
Hello.
I'm really glad you're here. There is an art show coming up, and I just always love hearing and seeing different ways that we have so many people in our community that are so talented and creative and expressive. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at the art show.
So the Woburn Guild of Artists is hosting the first ever Summer Arts Festival. So it's a combination of an art showcase as well as a market. And so there will be live art. So some artists will be creating on site as well as making sales. So feel free to come by. We're going to also have some musicians playing that are local, and we'll have some food vendors as well. So it's going to be just this whole creative day, and we'll be out there at Spence Farm from 11 to 4 p.m. And
That's great. What a wonderful use for Spence Farm. And it's on June 4th, correct?
It's on June 4th. Yeah.
Excellent.
And so it's a Sunday, and only a few hours. So definitely come by if you can. It's a really it's going to be a great experience. It's our first time doing it. So we're hoping to potentially grow and do it in the next few years as well. So
it's really exciting to see an opportunity to do that. And hopefully there'll be just beautiful weather and a chance for people to explore as well. So who is exhibiting at the show? So tell us a little bit about Woburn Guild of Artists and what the organization is.
Yeah, the Woburn Guild of Artists has been around for I don't even know how long, since the 60s at least. And every year, I think the community finds them the most at the festival on the Common. There's always an art show there every year. So that's one of our major community events that we do. And there's also monthly art demos. So the community can also join those as well. And those happen at the oh my gosh, I think it's the Baptist church downtown. It's the brick one. So that happens once a month, and that'll be on our website as well. And you can find them there and see which demos you'd like to be part of. But this is one of our other events that's happening kind of on the opposite end of the year, so that we can remind the community that we're here and also engage with the community as well. So
I love it. Now, if someone is interested in exhibiting their art or selling their art and they're already not connected, is there someone that they should get in touch with?
Well, we kind of already have all the artists that are going to be there, but definitely if you are an artist and you're interested in joining the WGA or interested in doing something like this in the future, please come to our event and we can help you get into our next show in the fall or almost winter. I guess it's a winter celebration at this festival in the comment. But yeah, we're really excited and I think it's going to be a great event. Hopefully it's a lovely day because it is outside and indoors. So
Spence Farm has it all. There's coverings and if the weather's not nice, I'm sure they'll make it work. So people
yeah, I hope so.
Thank you for joining us, Alex. So excited to see new art and I hope lots of people are able to go out and do that. And speaking of exciting events happening at Spence Farm, next up we have Sandra. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I am excited because I don't think that we've ever had an early childhood fair before, so I think this is the first as well. Tell us about it.
Well, I guess many years ago, the executive director of CUI had run some early childhood fairs, and again, that's given many years ago. I was at a meeting with Family Access in Community Connections and a couple of other community agencies that we meet with frequently, and we were talking about how many things there are out there for our high school level kiddos and elementary school, and I feel like that early education is kind of like in the background. It's very, very, very much important because we all know, and research states that early education is the foundation of our children's learning. So we thought that with COVID and the past few years of the community being separated, we said, let's think of something to bring the community together. So we said, how about a fair? So that's what
we're glad you did. And this is on June 10th, correct?
It is on June 10th, and it's not quite as long as the art show. It is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, this is my first time to do it. So we're testing the waters and we're hoping to expand it, as we go along. We're starting off with, we invited some people within the community that serve the early education and also, to the age of 8. Now, early, when we talk about early childhood education, it generally goes from infants to 8 years. So we're focusing in that age range. So we have some really great people that will be coming to set up tables. There'll be activities to do at each table. And then we will have, an entertainer that will come, an entertainer, puppeteer, musician, Tom Knight and his musical puppets. And we have, focused martial arts coming. We have Woburn social concern coming, Project Bread, Boys and Girls Club, just to name a few. And we worked in collaboration with Communities United Inc. and with Family Access and with the Woburn Recreations Parks and Recreations, if I'm saying it correctly. So
we just say Woburn Rec, but I'm sure there's a
Woburn Rec
complete name that we're supposed to say.
Yes, right. So it's actually been great. I've only been with Communities United Inc. I'm actually at the Woburn Creative Start, so I'm really finishing up my first year here. So the other piece to this is I wanted to get out into the community and to get to know the community as well. So so we're starting off small, and we are hoping that it's a success, and hopefully we can expand from there.
Well, thank you so much for doing it. Sounds like a great opportunity for people to learn about some new resources in the community or refresh on some they may know. Plus have some fun. I mean, there's got all kinds of things happening. Thank you so much for joining
That's what it's all about.
I love it. Well, next up, Bill, welcome.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I'm always excited to talk with folks who want to help support our local government and serve our community. It's so great. Bill, I am not going to attempt to pronounce your last name because anyone who watches this show knows I'm terrible with names, so why don't you pronounce it for us?
It's actually just how it looks. It's Capilato. Capilato.
That's not as bad as I would have said it. So thank you for doing that. I'm really glad to have you here. You're running for Ward 2 City Council. It's a big commitment. We know how hard our city councilors work. There's a lot of meetings, but there's even more ad hoc community outreach. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to run.
So this position, I've been interested in city politics for a long time. I sit on the License Commission today. I mean, I'll probably talk a little bit more about that later. But as part of that group, I got exposed to a little bit of the city government, and it's been really cool to see how different departments work and how teams have to function together to be successful and all that. So I did have a fairly stressful job in the private sector. I retired from that last year. And so the timing couldn't be better for me to delve into this. It's something I've been wanting to do, and now I have the time to do it the right way.
Well, congratulations on your retirement. We're lucky to have folks like yours who want to serve the community. What were you doing before you retired?
I was a vice president of technology for Tufts Health Plan that turned into Point32 Health after Harvard and Tufts merged together.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. I'm glad you get to be retired and work and think more about Woburn. Tell us a little bit about, Ward 2 has had a very long-term city councilor with Mr. Gately. Tell us a little bit about how your leadership may differ from the experience of while he was there.
Yep. So to the best of my knowledge, he's been in there for 16 years as a city councilor, has done a great job. I honestly have not had any direct dealings with Mr. Gately. So I wouldn't feel comfortable critiquing his leadership skills, because he must have done a very good job if he was in that long, or else somebody would have tried to challenge him. But so I won't speak to any of that. I can speak to my own leadership skills. And maybe that's kind of the best way to do that. So
absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yep. So I'm a hard worker. And I'm big on communication and collaboration. That includes me to the constituents. It includes within the city council. It includes to the different departments within the city. So just like any team, and for those of you that watched the Celtics yesterday, you can't win without teamwork. And I think that as people work together, they can do amazing things. And I feel like that's kind of the key to a lot of things. As I said, I'm retired, and this role will be my priority going forward. So I'm anxious to get the campaign moving, and I'm anxious to get going.
Bill, tell us a little bit more about being on the License Commission, what the License Commission does, but also what lessons you learned that you would apply to role as city council.
Yep. So I've been on the License Commission for the past 5 years. And the role of the License Commission is to oversee license, as luck would have it, right? And within those licenses, it's liquor licenses, it's innkeeper licenses, and it's common vic licenses, which are food service licenses. So all of the gamut of things that happen within that, it comes before the committee. And the members of the committee are extremely experienced and very knowledgeable. There's really structured meetings that happen, and it actually, as I watch, I'm starting to watch more of the city council meetings. There's some similarities between the way these meetings are run, and I think that gave me kind of a good foray into the council. I feel like the protocols and the meeting structure and all that, again, very similar to what happens. One thing that happens within the liquor commission is we have a yearly meeting, and I think it's the October-November timeframe, and all the people that hold licenses across the city are invited to come. They're required to come, in fact. And we go through all the details of what it means to have a license, what the expectations are of having licenses, and each of the major departments within the city come to the meeting and present their information. The Board of Health is there, the fire is there, the building inspector group is there, and more. And what that's done is it's really allowed me to see how the inner workings of some of these departments work. And it's been really, really a great experience to do that. And it gave me the side benefit of learning a little bit more about the different areas within the different departments within the city.
That's what I'm going to ask you, unrelated to campaign question, but my husband and I were talking about this. And I said, oh, wait, I'm going to get an answer tomorrow. I'm going to ask Bill this question. So it doesn't even matter why we were talking about this, but we're just curious. There's a limited number of liquor licenses that we as a city are allowed to give out. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what percentage of those liquor licenses are utilized at this point?
Well, there's a bunch of different types of licenses, but if you're talking about like a package store type of license, there's currently 8 licenses that are out there that people hold and use.
Okay.
9th one is kind of a debate right now as to do we actually need a 9th license, or do we not need a 9th license? And that's kind of up for debate right now. We've talked about it at different times. We've had a public forum on that, and I think it's coming back to the commission over the next meeting or two to go a little deeper into that. So there is still one license that's available. Whether or not the decision gets made to actually grant it, that's to be determined.
Okay. And in liquors to serve, like at restaurants and things, do they also have a limit, or is that an unlimited licenses that we can give?
No, there are limits to it, and there's all these regulations that you have to meet before you're able to get a license. But it's all about making sure that it's all done safely and securely, and people aren't, doing things they shouldn't be doing with these licenses.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not everybody is perfect, and there are situations that happen, and those are the ones that mostly come before our board.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it's a really important thing that we need to control. Because you interact so much with hospitality businesses here in Woburn, just in general, what's your feeling and sense of our hospitality business and friendliness towards that community, and things we might be able to do to continue to support those types of businesses being here?
I mean, I think we need to generate, as much of that as we can. Those are tax dollars that help our tax bills out. So we need to continue to push on all of that. But like anything, there's limits to what you can do, and you don't want to go too far because it has adverse effects to other things. So, we definitely support any business that comes in there. We support them. There's actually, if there's some event that somebody's planning, there's a road race or a carnival or whatever is happening, we give people the opportunity to kind of broadcast their, do a little infomercial for the people that are out there. So I think my answer would be we definitely support these things, and I think it's a good thing.
Good. So let's talk specifically about Ward 2. So when you, as a member of that community and someone there's, what do you think are top priorities in your role as city council to support that ward?
Yeah. Oh, I've done a lot of work to get myself prepped up for this. I am retired and I've had time to do this. So I did some work, and there are 1,750 unique addresses in Ward 2. A lot of those 1,750 addresses, I've probably hit about 1,200 and 1,250 houses. So it's eye-opening to talk to people and understand what some of the issues are. Depending on where you live, everyone has these different issues that are out there. A lot of it is traffic related. A lot of it is, there's going to be a new condo complex going in at the end of behind Easy Way Cleaners on Green Street. What is that going to cause for traffic problems? There's other folks that live on Washington Street down near Leland Park, and they have all these concerns about what Eversource doing over there. They're forever constructing things, and they're forever slowing traffic down. So there's a lot of that kind of thing. And then there's another section of folks that their properties border industry, and that sometimes come with some problems that have to get addressed and talked about and resolved. So those are the kind of the main issues. It's traffic and the collaboration between the business areas and the residents.
Now, one of the things that City Council is responsible for, not just for the ward, but for the city overall, is voting on our overall budget. As you know, the school budget in particular has been kind of an intense process this year as costs have gone up. What's your point of view about school funding and the role that City Council plays in budgeting?
Yep, that's a great question, and it's a hot topic for sure. So first, let me say that my wife and my two daughters were and are public school educators. So I have lots of teachers in my family, lots of administrators in my family, and I 100% support the teachers. It just behooves everyone in the community to have good school systems, whether you have children, grandchildren, or no children in these schools. We need good school systems. But there's definitely a balancing act here, right? Because it's not only just the school budgets, but it's all the budgets across the city. When those budgets go up, there's potential tax bill ramifications. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's just the schools, but the schools are the biggest part of our budget. So we need to continue to invest in the schools, but we can't go too far over the edge, because there's, and at least in the ward and the people that I've talked to, there's a lot of fixed income folks that live in this ward. And when those bills start skyrocketing, it's going to stretch people to the max to cover that. So I guess the short answer is I fully support the teachers and I fully support education, but it's a slippery slope. You have to be careful as to how much these budgets are going up for them and any other department, because if they go too high, there's a very adverse effect on the tax bills.
Every ward has challenges that you've talked about, some of the things that residents, but also has little gems of, things that are really special about the area. What's a, special thing about Ward 2, a special place for you or the community overall?
Yeah. So that's another great. So as I walk around the streets, I'm noticing things that I've lived here for 60 years. Okay. And I feel like I know Woburn, I know the streets, I know the neighborhoods, I know all this stuff, until you start walking around all these streets. And it is amazing what is out there. And there's some really cool things that are out there. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I look at, like, in the Leland Park area. As a kid growing up, I played Little League baseball in that field. I played high school baseball in that field. We had football practice on that field. So that's how I know that area. But when I go over there, it's so much more than that. There's a street hockey rink that's there. There's a playground that's there, and those things were funded privately. The city didn't fund those things years back, and the city certainly jumped in, and they're maintaining them and keeping them up and all that. But there's a pool over there. There's still baseball fields, there's football fields, it's a really cool area. I think there's a lot of use of it over there, but I think we can even do more. We can get more out of that because it's really neat. The other thing to highlight is the walking paths that are out there. My wife and I walk our dog around, babies around. We have grandchildren now. We walk around the neighborhood, and we've come across these walking paths, the ones that they start over in Stoneham and they go into Woburn, Winchester, and I'm not even sure how far out they go. That is a great feature there. Those would be the two hidden gems that I'd highlight. And I know there's talk of a spray park, there's talk of a skateboarding park to be determined. I'm not sure where those are right now, but there's a lot of
Park
stuff.
Brings back lots of memories. I spent a lot of Little League game days there with siblings playing in playgrounds and either kiddo umpiring or playing on the field. So
I remember going there. I was thinking of that the other day. Is my kids all went to the Goodyear school, and they used to have a kickball game in the 6th grade when they graduated from, oh, it was a 5th grade, whatever, 5th or 6th grade when they graduated. And it was just so cool to have that neighborhood feel that everything was right there. So I have great memories of it, but I think the kids of this generation and the next can keep benefiting from that because it's a really cool area there.
I love that. You know, one of the things that you talked about is going out and talking to a lot of residents and spending some of your now freer time, you know, getting to know them. One of the challenges of being a city councilor is making sure to represent everybody in the ward, and how, you know, how will you continue to do that throughout the campaign, but also as you serve? Yep.
So as I started to think about the neighborhood and where my house, it's not, I feel like my neighborhood isn't just the house, the streets that are connected to my home. I think that there's, you know, I've been around a while. I know a lot of people, not only in this ward, but all over. And I feel like, and as you walk around and you talk to more people, they all have their own little things that are going on, and they have their own set of circumstances that are near and dear to their heart, or pain points to them. And this job, to your point in your question, is not just about the people that live on my street or the people that live off those streets. You need to represent everybody. Everybody has different concerns and different things that they're adamant about or passionate about. And that's what this job is. It's to make sure everybody is heard across it. And that's what I would absolutely plan to do that.
That's fantastic. Thank you. As you're campaigning and getting to know the community, are there any events or things that you want people to know, or a place you want to send people if they'd like to set up some time and chat and get to know you?
Yep. Well, first off, I sent out an announcement maybe, I don't know, a couple months ago now, and I put an email address and a cell phone number. I encourage people to reach out that way. The best way to get to know people, to get to know them, the constituents get to know me as a candidate, and vice versa, is to just talk to people, right? Communication and collaboration is everything. If you don't do that, you're going to just miss the boat. And I feel like that I will have a campaign party. I haven't got a date set for that yet, but I will as time goes forward. And I just think that it's important to keep talking and keep listening. And listening is probably the biggest trait that you need to do with this job, and honestly, a lot of jobs, because people want to be heard, and sometimes people are on send and they need to be on receive. And I think that by listening, you can solve a lot of problems. And
I love that. I think that's so important. Before I let you go, Bill, is there anything else you want residents to know about your candidacy and your experience?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I grew up here. My kids grew up here. I love the city. Where I used to work, I tell people about Woburn like it was utopia, and you can't find a better place to live than Woburn. So I really love this place, and I think the world of Woburn. I have worked in private industry. I have had executive level jobs. I know it's hard work is part of this thing, and I just want to let everyone know that I'm all in for this position, and I'll do everything I can to respectfully represent the residents of Wood too.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.